Hey guys, so today I'm going to be talking to you about how to confirm a first date with someone without coming off as insecure. And so, if this is someone that you just met on Tinder or Hinge or Bumble or another dating site, or even someone that you met briefly in person and you don't know if they're going to show up on the date, then this is a great method to use. Um, I know how some guys have, ended up messaging a girl if they haven't heard from them and saying, "Hey, are we still on for a night?" or something along those lines. And personally, I wouldn't use this method because I can see how that can come off as, usually people do end up canceling on me, or I'm afraid that I'm not going to see you tonight, so I have to confirm. And then on the other hand, and I'm guilty of this as well, is just assuming that the person is going to meet up if I made the date several days in advance, and then end up showing up and they end up never coming. Um, so what I end up doing is, let's say that I made the date for a few days in advance. Let's say that I contacted them on Monday and then we made a date on Friday or even a Wednesday, a couple of days before. If the day comes and I haven't heard from her um, by that point, by like noon or something, sometimes I'll end up getting that too if I haven't contacted a girl by the day of the date. They'll end up confirming with me, and then I know I don't have to sweat it. But if the days come, I haven't heard from them, then by noon I'll say something along the lines of, "Hey, I may be running a few minutes late tonight, so let's do 7:15 instead. Sound good?" Question mark, and then I send that. And so what that does is it shows that I'm assuming that I'm going to meet up with them. It's not like I'm questioning, "Hey, are we still meeting up tonight because, I haven't heard from you," or, it shows, yeah, of course we're going to meet up tonight. But I just got to see with you if you can meet up a couple minutes later because I'm going to be running a few minutes late. And so it comes off a lot more confident, assuming. And then on top of that, it's only 15 minutes later. So, it shouldn't be an issue for someone to meet up with you 15 minutes later. Because let's say you made the date for 7, then you should definitely still be on the date, hopefully, by 7:15. And so I've never had an issue with someone saying that's too late or something. I know how some coaches confirm, say to try and do it for an hour or two later. And the problem with that is if someone, has work the next day or something like that, that could actually be a valid reason for them to cancel. Or if they're on the fence about going out with you, now they could use that as an excuse to not see you. And so, this is a good way to, you know, get rid of that possibility of it being an issue by only being 15 minutes later. And so, when I have used this method, most of the time, the girl ended up saying, yeah, 7:15 works. Sounds good. I'll see you then. And then I know I don't have to worry about it. On the other hand, this has also helped me figure out whether a girl is going to show up or not. And then they end up canceling on me by saying, "Hey, I can't make it tonight. Something came up, or I'm too busy today. We'll just have to do it some other time or something like that." And so then there it's also a win because then I didn't waste my time getting ready and taking a shower and whatever else and driving out there and then end up not showing up, right? And so you kill two birds with one stone. You get to not come off as insecure. You get to confirm the date whether they're going to show up or not. And then two, if they do end up canceling, now you have an adequate amount of time to make other plans with someone else. And so that's why it's also imperative that you give this person an adequate amount of time. So that's why I say to do at least 3 to 4 hours before the date. But even better would be like around noon or something like that, because that gives them more than enough time to get back to you. And if they're at work or something or whatever, and it still only takes like a second to check on your phone and confirm and say, yeah, that sounds good. So if I haven't heard from a girl, if I send that message and I haven't heard from the girl by like 6 or even 6:30 or something like that, it's like I've already made other plans because it shouldn't have taken that long to get back in touch. um, and on top of that, this ends up being a great method to weed out the people who don't have integrity or the decency to let you know ahead of time that they're going to cancel. Because if they end up saying, "Hey, I can't make it tonight, I'm super busy," or whatever, um, if I just assumed that I was going to see them, they could have canceled an hour or 30 minutes before the date when I was getting ready or something like that. And then I wasted that time getting ready for absolutely no reason. And there's some people that just don't have that decency And so this is a great way to weed those people out. So if they do cancel and they don't show any sense of trying to reschedule, or there's an actual valid reason behind them canceling, then I will not make a date with them in the future. And so that's a great way to toss those people aside. And so this method has always worked for me. I've never had an issue with it. So if you have any questions or comments or concerns, leave them below, and I hope it works for you. Take care.